Well, hello everyone, welcome back to my F1 2012 career mode, season 3, round 16 in Korea. And today we need to finish 3rd or above, because I actually had a decent qualifying session. Well, quite decent, I can't actually remember. It's bad, isn't it, when I can't remember these things. But my objective in qualifying was to finish 13th or above. I went slightly wide on that first corner, but it doesn't seem to have hurt me that much, considering the speed that you take that corner. It's quite a slow one when you go into it. The main thing is to get a good run out of it. This is a tricky corner to get right. Try and get as close to the apex as possible. Obviously not to lose too much speed, so you can get a nice run into this second little straight here. And then it comes the twisty section after this. That was the first sector, 34.9. Not too bad. A bit wide there. Could have been better. But the rest of this little section of corners, not too bad at all, I have to say so myself. As I've got all the cars behind me, so I've got a nice clear road ahead of me with nice fresh clean air. My lack of downforce means I cannot leave the DRS open in some of those long sweeping corners. Not yet anyway. Sort of messed up that little section a tiny bit, so I may have lost a few tenths there. This is not a perfect lap, so to speak, but it'll do. It will definitely do. I've obviously already met my objective, so I'm not going to get crucified by the team, which is always nice. So just moving around the third sector now. Last couple of corners, a bit wide on a few of them, but now you just put the hammer down. Just rely on the car to keep on the track going around that last corner and cross the line for a 1:39.9, which Raikkonen has already beaten. So I'm not on pole, that's for sure. I'm actually in 6th. I did actually go for another lap, but didn't really turn out very well for me. I went a bit too wide on some corners, so I called it a day basically, seeing as I had already met my objective. So as you can see, you've got Grosjean in front of me. I think I only have to win once or twice more to get a Lotus contract offer. So we'll see how that one goes. But Grosjean is a formidable beast in this season. Beast that I have just overtaken on the outside, which is pretty good. So as long as I'm in front of him, it's all that matters. I need to score more points than him to catch up to him in the championship, because I am still lying in 2nd. Rosberg is a bit of a threat as well, as is Raikkonen, but not the immediate threat that Grosjean is at the moment. So ideally I want to be back on the podium in this race. Obviously, as you can see, my objective is 3rd. Getting right up and close to Rosberg. Just going to sneak in the inside here. Lovely jubbly. Right, let's see if I can catch up to Raikkonen. I have not had bad pace on this circuit today, so it should be alright. Although he is sort of running away a little bit, and he might very well do in these long twisty sections. I don't do too bad in the tight corners, but the long sweeping corners I do tend to lose them a little bit. In this section here I am a little bit faster, so it does kind of help with the gap. I think sector 2 is my worst sector. Sectors 1 and 3 are the sectors I tend to make up ground on, so so basically well, I don't know what the problem is in sector 2. Sector 2 is usually a problem for me in a lot of the tracks, but if I'm gaining in 2 sectors rather than just like 1, that means I have a possibility of closing the gap if I keep the car on the track and meet all my apexes nicely. So you never know, I might have a chance, even though, as you can see at the moment, Raikkonen is pulling away from me a little bit. But I am starting to feel my way around the track a bit better now. I've got fuel in the car, a full fuel tank, sort of adjusting my braking positions, because that always gets me in the first few laps. Definitely could be worse. Could be worse. I'm up in second, so hopefully I won't fluff this one up today. I've really got to pull my socks up now because there's only 4 races left after this one. No, hang on. 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 4 races left after this one, so this is round 16. That makes sort of sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you. We'll soon find out. But that means, including this race, there's 125 points available, so there's still a lot at stake. And I don't want Grosjean to get any further away from me in the championship than he is already, which is around 11 points, I think. I was helped out last time because Grosjean ended up being crashed out the race, or not finishing at all, DNF. Don't know why. I didn't see anything on any replays or anything, so we'll have to wait for that one. Well, not wait for it. We don't know what happened to him because we can't view any other cars, which is unfortunate. And for the first time in a long time, I set the fastest lap at 1:42.6. That's a good start. Good start. As you can see, the gap is closing to Raikkonen, so I'm catching him, which is good. Ideally, I want to catch him on these option tyres. At least be near him during the pit stop phase, then I'll have a chance of maybe taking the lead if I can't take the lead beforehand. So yeah, 1.5 seconds. I actually opened up a gap to Grosjean about 2 seconds, so I'm comfortable about not being caught up from behind, so I don't need to worry about that at the moment. So yeah, there we go. I can almost smell his exhausts. Shouldn't be far off now. It's these long sweeping corners that I have to lift off ever so slightly because of my lower downforce setup, which works really well on the straight, so I have good acceleration. And I sort of have an understeery setup going on as well, which I have been doing for most of the season. It seems to be working, so as long as it works, then that's all that matters, and it feels comfortable, then that's all fine by me. Because sometimes, as I've said in a few races beforehand, as I get DRS, some of my setups haven't been quite as comfortable as they should be. So here we go, getting a slipstream, pull out, and hopefully meet the apex here. So that couldn't have gone much better. So there you go, I've taken the lead. It just goes to prove I can actually catch up to the AI every once in a while, as long as the conditions are right. Yeah, let's see if we can pull away a little bit. He might still be on the back of me by the time the DRS zone comes around again, but we'll just have to wait and see. So while I'm out in front here, we'll have a quick look at the day's news. As soon as I say that sort of thing, something happens on here, so bear with me a minute while I make sure nothing's going to happen. I don't think anything does at the minute. I'm in the lead, I'm not chasing anyone. My pace is pretty good. I've set another fastest lap last time around, as you may have noticed. Let's see what happens when I go across the line again. As you can see by the arrows, Raikkonen is right behind me, so he's probably using my slipstream. Let's see what happens when we get around to the DRS zone next, and then we'll talk about whatever gossip and news has appeared on the world in the world of Formula 1 in the last 24 hours. That's not good. Probably going to have to use my KERS. I went a bit wide there. Today is the 4th of June. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. Just finished work. So if anything happens after this video in the news that I haven't mentioned, then that's the reason. Seeing as this video will take about 5 hours to upload, and I have the previous video, Japan, which I haven't uploaded yet because we had a power cut yesterday. So this may end up being 5th of June by the time this one goes up or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we won't have another freaking power cut. If it isn't the internet, it's the bloody power. It's brilliant, isn't it? Oh well, whatever. But anyway, I am waffling. Let's get on with what I've found so far, which is only one news item because not much has actually happened. Really, nothing much will happen until the teams meet up in Canada. There's only one story pretty much. The headline is a little bit misleading. I mean, it's sort of truthful, but headlines are designed to make you look at the story, you know, draw you in, that sort of thing. Basically, I found an article on the internet that says Sebastian Vettel says he may quit Formula 1 in 5 years. Now you see, most people look at that and say, what? He's only about 12. But yeah, 25-year-old. By the time he's 30, you know, you never know, he might be, I don't know. Depends how much of an urge he has to compete, what sort of car he's in. You know, he might end up winning so much that he just can't be bothered anymore. But yeah, he made the remarks speaking to a German newspaper in response to a question about whether he would leave Red Bull one day. So what he said was, I quote, "I can't say, perhaps I will be no longer driving in 5 years' time because I no longer have the urge to." So I've murdered that. I sort of read it too quickly. And then he goes on to say, "Perhaps I will compete for another team in 5 years because I feel ready for a fresh challenge. Every human being evolves as time goes by, priorities shift. Right now I feel completely at ease here and I could not imagine driving anywhere else. The car is quick, the team does well. I see no reason to leave. But that does not automatically mean I will stay forever." So that's what he said. Obviously the headline makes it look like he's going to quit Formula 1 in 5 years no matter what. It means he could be driving for another team in 5 years. He could still be driving for Red Bull come 2014, 2015. He's got a contract till the end of 2014, but many suspect it's till the end of 2015, so he'll be in Red Bull for a while yet. And while Adrian Newey is there, Christian Horner, and the car's good, then why would he move? As I come into the pits here, I always go a bit wider onto the bloody grass. I hate the pit entrance here. So I mean, yeah, why not? Why not switch teams? I mean, the only reason you probably would switch team is to prove your critics wrong, that you can only win world championships in one car. But you know, no one remembers you for that. They remember you for the world championships you won and how you've won them. 2011 was a bit of a dominant year for him, so no one will remember that much. They just remember it for his domination. It'll be 2010 and 2012, the way he won those titles, managed to get them, claw his way back into the fight and take it in dramatic fashion in Brazil last time out. So that's what he'll be remembered for. And don't get me wrong, he's fully deserving of the titles. I'd just like to see someone else win, of course, but but whatever. I'd like to see Vettel in a different car though, personally, to see how he does. As long as the other car is not like some shitty car, or a car like the McLaren where its fortunes have gone down the gutter this year. Because I would just like to see him in different settings, see how he would do. You know, just to see how he is. I mean, you know, it would maybe prove the critics wrong that he can't just win in one car, or maybe he won't. I don't know. So it's a big risk moving teams. I mean, you've got to settle in another team as well. Got to lay down your foundations, your roots, so you can be comfortable in the car and the team. It's sort of like Hamilton's slightly still getting used to things at the moment. I mean, it's a different car, different team, different priorities in terms of PR and all that. A bit more relaxed, maybe. which I think is probably why Hamilton's a bit off the pace of Rosberg, because most of these top drivers are pretty much the same, really. You give them the same car, they'd be battling out for a win every race, pretty much, because it's the pinnacle of motorsport. You get the top drivers, and they're all supremely talented, especially at the sharp end of the field. And Hamilton is supremely talented. He is. It's just you can't deny that. Like, if you ever saw footage of him racing his go-kart in the wet, for example, you can't say he hasn't got talent. That's for sure. Even if he does come across as a little pretty boy, or like a hip-hop star or something like that. Because apparently he's genuinely nice. Because I used to work with a night porter who worked at one of the most prestigious hotels in the New Forest area, or in Hampshire, wherever it is. And Hamilton and his girlfriend stayed there once, and he genuinely is a nice guy. So that's nice to hear, because I didn't know what it was like, to be honest. You got the face of the public and the media, two different sort of things. But anyway, I'm moving off topic here. So, it says the more immediate question for Red Bull is the identity of his teammate in 2014, which I, like most people, would suspect it won't be Webber. Webber will probably move on to pastures new. He'll either go to a different team, or he'll just come out of F1 altogether and do a different series of racing. But Mark Webber loves F1, and who wouldn't in this situation? It's just unfortunate that he's being outshone by a faster teammate. A faster and better teammate. There's no ifs and buts about it. Vettel is faster. He's younger as well, so he's got nothing to lose. But Webber's always been a bit of a adrenaline junkie anyway, so I don't know, maybe he's just getting on a bit. Not as fast as he used to be. Probably, it's just the friction in the team probably has dented his performance a little bit. But whatever. I think the only reason he stayed at Red Bull is because it's a race-winning car anyway. So, why would you give that up just because you don't get on with your teammate? But anyway, whatever. You never know, it could be Kimi in the car next year. Apparently Fernando Alonso's been a link to it, but I really don't think he's going to end up leaving Ferrari, because he wants to win a championship with Ferrari, so I'd be surprised if it was him. But whatever. That's pretty much it, really. Nothing else has been going on, as far as I know. Apart from Hamilton being criticised for getting beaten by Rosberg. Seriously? It's not that bad. Hamilton just made a misjudgment of some lap time in Monaco, otherwise they would have had a 1-2. It's just a mistake. It happens. Doesn't mean Hamilton's being crap at the minute. But still, whatever. I even saw one article about he should leave the dog at home, apparently. Just because his dog's there doesn't mean his driving's going to go to shit. The media will jump on anything, just to sell papers, sell whatever they're selling. But it's because of what they're like. But here we are, lap 10 of 14. I've actually opened up quite a gap to Raikkonen, so this probably isn't the most exciting race, especially the second half of it. I hope I haven't bored you too much. But yeah, I've got the Lotuses behind me. Luckily Raikkonen is ahead of Grosjean, but you never know, Grosjean could get past Raikkonen. Wouldn't surprise me because he is quite close on the map there. You can see that little blue dot moving around. But I've got a nice gap of 4.2 seconds. Now I'm going to flick up to Rich just to use up the fuel. I mean, why not? Maybe set a fastest lap. Oh yes, yeah. And some. I actually know, I know something's going to happen here. I'll let you wait till you see it. I mean, there's no point telling you. Well, I've already spoiled it enough that something's going to happen. But it's not as bad as you might think it is. I don't end up falling back to 10th place or something stupid, so don't worry about that. Basically, I'm just cruising along now, keeping the gap to Raikkonen. A steady 4 seconds, maybe open it up to 5 seconds if I can. But I've been going a little bit wide in some of these corners, mainly because I'm sort of misjudging the braking points and the speed that I'm going around. And now the car behind is running on full rev, so he will be actively trying to chase me down in the last few laps. Something that will probably make easier for him pretty soon.
You have a 4-second lead over the car behind. 4 seconds.
But the gap is pretty constant, 4.2 seconds roundabout, 4.199, close enough. Grosjean is within a second of Raikkonen, so it wouldn't surprise me if he came flying past him in the next DRS zone. Keeping the pace pretty constant, a couple of tenths here and there. Gap almost exactly the same as it was last time around. Just checking my fuel consumption. Don't quite know why, because you know I know I can go flat out to the rest. Ah yes, there it is. Go flat out to the end. Pretty much. I'm just glad I got back in front of the Lotuses again. Didn't lose too much time there, but again it's the same problem that I had in Belgium when I went off the track in lap 8 into the gravel. Luckily there's no gravel there, it's just a tarmac runoff area. But yeah, again I got onto the curbs while I was braking, so that really doesn't help. Locked up the tyres and just went straight on basically. And now it's freaked me out a little bit. So you might be able to tell from my driving, it's a slightly bit more erratic. And that's allowed Raikkonen to close up right behind me. But hopefully I don't panic too much and can just close this down now. Trouble is, when things like that happen, I tend to be a bit more careful, and that's when they can catch up to me and possibly even pass me, especially when we get around to the DRS zone next. But usually I save my KERS up for that, to defend my position. So, and I went a bit wide there as well, which is unfortunate. I should be okay. I mean, it's not as if Raikkonen's the only one behind me, because you've got Grosjean there as well. And I say that's a good thing, because Raikkonen may be trying to get past me, but he should also be defending from Grosjean as well. So that kind of does help me out a little bit, because you'll be also preoccupied with him behind as well. You can hear him. Just about see him in the mirrors as well. But he's way, way too far back to make any sort of difference whatsoever. And I survived for another lap. So one more lap to go after this one. This is the penultimate lap. And the gap is about half a second to Raikkonen. Just need to hold on now. Tyres holding up. Tyre wear's not actually too bad on this circuit for me. I mean, it's sort of going yellow, that's what I'm just checking now. Just to keep an eye on it, so I don't want to end up sliding out of a corner somewhere, because that could be a bit of a disaster. Can't afford another lock-up like I did a couple of laps ago, or last lap. Not really a fan of that section of corners. It's quite an interesting section of corners, but it's a corner I'd rather drive in real life than actually do it on this game, because it feels terrible. In real life it probably feels great, but I don't know. I don't personally like it. I'm not entirely a fan of this track in general. I quite like the long straight though, that's quite nice. And the severe braking point at the end of it, that's quite a challenge to get right. And some of the corners, yeah, they're alright, but it's just doesn't wow me so much as some of the other tracks. I mean, as much as I'm not particularly fast in Japan, for example, I do love the track and the layout and the variety of corners it's got, and the fact that you've sort of got runoff area, but then the barriers are right there in your face, pretty much, like, you know, when I crashed in qualifying, for example. You know, that's what drivers like. They like the danger, the barriers being that close. Little error for room for error. But there you go. Safety marches on. Minimise the risk as much as you can, I suppose. But drivers will always want a little element of danger. You know, it makes it fun after all. So just coming around to the final section now. Just need to hold it on for my first win for quite a while actually. Can't remember when I had the last win. Coming through to take it, followed by Raikkonen, a bit of a steering on the wheel there, snaking around, just in celebration. And Massa finishes 13th. Fantastic. Again, he doesn't score any points.
What a great win! You deserve that. Good job.
25 points. So Grosjean finished in 3rd, so that gives him 15 points. So I should have closed the gap to about 1 point, if my calculations are correct. Felipe Massa being a huge disappointment as usual this season, finishing out the points, and Toro Rosso finished last. Not a good season at all. The Caterhams are sort of 15th and 16th at a midfield. Red Bull down the lower end of the points.
Second in the Drivers' Championship.
And so there we go. Yes, I am 1 point behind Grosjean. Kimi Raikkonen is 22 points behind Grosjean. And Nico Rosberg is actually closing the gap as well, so it's actually quite tight near the top. Any of the top 7 could probably take it. Top 6 or 7 could come through and spoil the party. I'll just look at it. Yeah, because after that, Mark Webber on 53 points, nowhere near. So yeah, Lotus still at the top. Looks like they are pretty much going to win the constructors by the time Abu Dhabi comes around. And Ferrari down there in 4th. I think that's yeah, we're not going to get any higher than 4th. I think 4th is probably where we're going to be this season. It's a bit too much to catch up to McLaren. But there we go. A celebration for once. Whoa-hey. Alright. Anyway, so join me next time for round 17 in India. Take care guys, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.